All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
All right, welcome everybody to our Entertainment District discussion and workshop. This has been going on, controversy and pro and con for a while now, and I appreciate y'all taking the time out to come and discuss this with us. I want to kind of reiterate what Avery was saying. I know you've got 3 minutes, but please try not to replicate what's already been said. You don't need to duplicate and just reiterate what somebody's already said about it, pro or con. I think we can get the idea on there. Before we get going, I know the Chamber of Commerce has put together, had a group come together, and they have helped do and wanted this workshop. And I like Devin's here. Kind of give an update on where the chamber at in this entertainment district, and then we'll open it up to, again, public comments and your ideas, and then we'll go into council. So, all right, we got tag teams.
Yes, sir. Well, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We appreciate your time. I want to start by providing a little context on how we got here. The Chamber became aware that a member was interested in creating an entertainment district and had begun bringing that idea forward during council meetings. We also heard the feedback and concerns expressed by council during those discussions. In response, we felt it was important to bring people together in a more collaborative way. We invited those who were proposing the idea, along with the individuals who have successfully organized and managed temporary entertainment districts here in Eureka Springs in the past, to come to the table. Through a series of thoughtful and careful discussions, including input from city leadership, the police chief, and the director of public works, we worked to shape something that reflects those conversations and addresses the concerns that were raised. What we're presenting today is the result of that collaborative process. And I want to be very clear. This proposal is not about increasing activity. It's about creating a structured, enforceable framework around activity that already exists today. This is about adding clarity, accountability, and consistency. It's not about loosening standards. I think a few things that are important to mention is that the district would be limited to a clearly defined area designed in coordination with our police chief. It's not citywide. It would operate under set hours ending at 10 p.m., with the only exception being the already established New Year's Eve event. We have important safeguards: no outside alcohol allowed, a required wristband system for participation, all ID checks and underage drinking laws remain fully enforced. Existing noise ordinances and public intoxication laws remain unchanged, and any special events still require permits and city approval.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
All right. I would like to note before I know we had it signed up, but I know we had a lot of people here who closed their business to be able to attend to this. And I would like to have, if y'all don't mind, be able to kind of have them jump ahead. So if you've got a business here that you closed to be able to attend to this public meeting, come on up and if you got to sign up, please say whatever you need to say, and we'll let you go back to opening up your shop, because we certainly don't want to keep you away from there.
Thank you very much. I'm Tammy, and I'm from Your Wildwood, 40 Spring Street. I've talked with several of the retailers near me, and some of their questions, because I couldn't attend. One is, what are the provisions, if any, for extra trash? There's going to be more people, which goes into the bathroom situation, making sure that those are open and functional and clean. And then my final one is, what are the provisions for a dedicated police officer downtown? Those are my concerns. Thank you very much.
Are we allowed to answer?
All right, next.
No permanent anything.
Please state your name and
My name is Lisa Knapp. I'm a 40-year business owner. I have 5 business licenses, hundreds of feet of this location. Retail is a very delicate ecosystem. We change over 12 to 18 shops a year. Prior to your meeting the other day, you stated that the retail is 32% of your budget for your tax collections. My questions would be, yes, where would the porta potties be? The bathrooms do get locked at 10 o'clock. This was also voted down before, and now it's come back again. My view is that this only helps very few businesses. I talked to many of our visitors who said if I wanted to go to New Orleans, I would have chosen New Orleans. I chose Eureka Springs. They don't want that on the streets. I believe this hurts us as merchants in our beautiful shopping district. The Spring Fling has already extended its hours, as you stated the other night, so now that one is going to be longer at night. So I'm already seeing flexibility at how this would go on and how it can be changed. Also, liability is a whole nother issue. And if you want to entertain, please use the auditorium. Thank you.
I'm Bill White. I'm a plumber. I just hit the restroom, hadn't done it in 20 years. No improvements in there in 20 years. The restrooms are not large enough. I questioned myself where you were going to put the porta cans, but those are always, anyway. We don't have a parking garage for any extra people. I'm glad, I think that it was mentioned that this is not going to bring, we're not about increasing any kind of foot traffic by having this. I'm missing something. Oh, the curbs, at the different levels the curbs are. Across the street from me, one is 1 inch, one is 8 inches, one is 4. The limestone sidewalks are not safe. I'm missing something that I wanted to say and I didn't write it down. Thank you.
anyone else?
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Christopher, and I'm with Eureka Live. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. I want to express my support for establishing a downtown entertainment district in Eureka Springs. However, I do want to bring forth some concerns as it relates to the current limited map being proposed. Excluding a large portion of downtown businesses is neither inclusive nor reflective of a genuine effort to allow all businesses to thrive. If we are creating an entertainment district, it should provide fair opportunity across our business community, not selectively benefiting a few while leaving out others. One of the major concerns raised has been individuals sitting in parked cars and drinking. Parking lot owners, much like building owners, are responsible for policing their property to ensure compliance and limit the liability. This is already standard practice in our city. It should also be noted that individuals who choose to drink alcohol in their vehicles are typically doing so with alcohol that they have brought to the town themselves and not alcohol purchased from local establishments. If this behavior were widespread, it would already be an issue today. Individuals who intend to drink in their cars and then walk downtown will do so regardless of whether an entertainment district exists or not. The creation of an entertainment district does not create this behavior. It simply allows responsible businesses the opportunity to operate on a level playing field. Another concern involves pedestrians walking across the street with alcoholic beverages, particularly across the state highway. However, one thing we're failing to mention is that approximately 90% of downtown parking is located across Main Street, meaning visitors are already crossing the street regularly, with or without beverages. This reality exists regardless of the entertainment district. It is also important to note that an existing entertainment district outside of downtown operates along a roadway significantly bigger than North Main, yet pedestrian crossing with beverages did not appear to be the primary concern in that instance. For consistency and fairness, this standard should be applied across all districts. It is also worth acknowledging that retail shops in Eureka Springs have, at times, offered customers complimentary beverages or small servings of alcohol. It is not uncommon to see individuals walking through downtown with a drink in hand on any given week. While this may not technically fall within the strict legal parameters, I am not aware of any documented incidences or public safety concern that have resulted from this practice. If walking with alcohol in unapproved...
The gentleman's 3 minutes has expired. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Anthony.
Lacey Moffitt.
Hello, my name's Lacey Moffitt, and I'm here in the capacity of Eureka Clothing Company, the store that I own. We are for the entertainment district. I feel like it's just another service that we can provide our tourists to come to Eureka, and I feel like all the other tourist towns around us have already implemented this, 4 or 5 years ago, the first time that we brought it up for our city. So that being said, I'm putting on my other hat, and I'm a representative for Heart of Eureka. We haven't had a big meeting about this issue solely, and we just got the parameters last night, and I posted it on our private site. And so many of our restaurants and bars have had some questions, and hopefully they're in attendance today. If not, I feel like it would be a great thing to have a bigger discussion when everybody, all the retailers and bars and people could attend after business hours. But the people that we've talked to and that told me to come and give their vote today, so they're retailers, 10 of them are for the district and 2 are against. And the yeses were saying that, it's a great thing to allow tourists to come around and shop, and it's all contingent on bathrooms and strict rules and guidelines to keep everything safe. So, thank you very much.
You'll have to forgive me if I mispronounced Charlie Murray.
It's Charlene, but that was close. So this letter is submitted on behalf of the ownership of the Cat House Lounge regarding the proposed temporary or permanent entertainment district in Eureka Springs. The ownership would like to express concern that as currently proposed, a permanent entertainment district may unintentionally alienate a significant number of downtown businesses. While we fully support the continued growth and economic development of downtown Eureka Springs, there is a belief that this proposal, in its current form, could create an uneven playing field and foster unfair competition among local establishments. Although the concept of an entertainment district has merit, we feel strongly that it requires more thoughtful planning and broader community involvement at this time. It appears that certain entities have positioned themselves within the proposed district while others have been excluded. This raises concern about fairness, especially where overlapping influences may exist between business interests and representation at the city council level. We believe the intentions behind the proposal are positive. However, we respectfully request that additional public forums be held to allow for inclusive input from all affected businesses and stakeholders. A plan of this magnitude should reflect the collective voice of the entire downtown community, not just a select group. Additionally, we do not believe that a temporary entertainment district as proposed will produce meaningful increases in tourism or economic activity. Instead, there is concern that it may concentrate spending among a limited number of businesses rather than benefiting the broader downtown area as a whole. Again, these views are presented on behalf of the ownership of the Cat House Lounge. The undersigned is conveying this message in a professional capacity and not as a personal opinion. We appreciate your time and consideration of these concerns and encourage continued dialogue to ensure that any future decisions support the long-term success and inclusivity of all businesses in Eureka Springs. Sincerely, Charlene Murray, on behalf of ownership, Cat House Lounge, Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Jack Moyer.
Good afternoon. I'm Jack Moyer. I'm here representing the Basin Park Hotel. I would like to just make a couple of points. And in full disclosure, I was one of the participants on the group work committee. But these are the views of the Basin Park Hotel. First and foremost, I think it's important in tourism to stay relevant and to stay current. And I'm not excited to share this, but the Basin Park is in a small period of retraction on its revenue for occupancy. And I think part of that is because our downtown area is not 7 days relevant. And I'm looking for opportunities and plans to keep that. I want to speak to the public referendum. And I'm concerned about that because I really want to encourage council to understand one of your roles is to go deep on issues, to evaluate the effect not only on local business people, not only on city services, but also on the effect of the overall city and health and welfare of its citizens. And this is a great opportunity and forum to be able to do that. And I encourage you guys to take the responsibility forward to make the decision and not to push it to a referendum. I think the city needs to find a path to slow, responsible growth, remaining relevant. I think you all know about the revenue challenges that we all face with escalating expenses and slower revenues coming in. And I want you to understand that there is an opportunity for the city to also benefit. You know that of the liquor taxation, 10% wholly goes directly to the city of Eureka Springs. If you look at your budget, you grossed $332,879 in extra revenue because of the 10% match on the hospital tax. That doesn't mean we're trying to sell more liquor irresponsibly, but it does show if you can find a path to sell more beer, wine, and liquor responsibly, that there is also a benefit to the city's finances. Finally, I've been serving alcohol in downtown Eureka Springs for 31 years. I wholly support its enforcement. I get the pros, and I get the negatives. Signage in an entertainment district justifies enforcement. 10 p.m. is key. Beale Street doesn't shut down at 10 o'clock. And if you guys know me, one of the famous things that I say...
The gentleman's 3 minutes has expired. Thank you.
Finish your sentence. Finish your sentence.
He did.
Oh, okay. All right.
Next is Lila Allison.
I am Lila Allison, a lifelong resident of Eureka Springs. I was here at Monday night's meeting, as everybody knows. Did not know if I'd get the opportunity to come today because of the hours that were chosen. Thank goodness for clients, they let me reschedule, so I'm here. I really wanted just to get more information, so the little tiny bit that we heard in the very beginning was less than I was expecting. I kind of thought a little more information would have been given at this meeting. But I think we all have questions. I know that on Monday night, several people said that they suggested that it go to a vote to the entire public. I'm actually going to go change my driver's license and my permanent residence so that I can be a legal voter in Eureka Springs. I want the opportunity to vote. I think people should have the opportunity to vote. And I was a business owner downtown. If I were still a business owner downtown, it's one thing if you're handing out a glass of wine, generally half a glass in a small plastic cup, to someone in an evening at an art walk. We always made sure that there was a trash can by the front door. We never let people walk out with those drinks. We still got to do it. We still got to provide it. They still got to enjoy it. I don't think that they would have left downtown if they couldn't have walked out and gone to a next one with that same small cup of alcohol. I feel like we need more input from the public as a whole. It sounds like there are a lot of business owners that actually want you to increase the district. I don't know. I personally, I would have to vote no for it, and if it becomes to a vote, by that time I will be able to vote here on city issues, and my personal vote would be no for the permanent district, but yes to still allow temporary districts and temporary permits for certain things. I'm very afraid that we're going to run off the last few families that still choose to come to Eureka Springs if we're all walking around with open containers. There's plenty of places in town where all of us as adults can choose to go and be around other people that are drinking, to have beverages. There's decks, there's porches, there's patios, there's inside air-conditioned seatings. There's plenty of places to get alcohol in town. I don't personally think it should be open on the street. And as I said, if I were still a shopkeeper, I wouldn't want people coming in my store with light carpet and their red wine. Thank you.
Devin Henderson.
Hello. So I wasn't sure of the format tonight, and so I want to address a few things now. I didn't know if we would workshop this after public comment as well. But I just want to clear a few things up. So, a big part of why the limited district is what it is because we wanted to make sure that this was going to be the most safe and effective district in town. Because of that, we made sure to consult our police chief, who didn't. Basically, Benton Street and Mountain Street, a big part of it is those are emergency access routes. And I can tell you, when I was talking with Chief, when we were talking with Chief, his concern was not about businesses. He wasn't thinking this business will be left out and let's not put it here because of that business. His sole concern was pedestrian traffic and how that interacted with vehicles. And so with Benton being an emergency access route and Mountain being an emergency access route, the route that the police chief was comfortable was with this limited district. Now, the council's free to do whatever district they would like, but we wanted to present a plan that our police chief was comfortable with, that our public works director was comfortable with. We talked to Public Works. They said, Simon said that his department is more than capable of handling any increased trash that comes with the district. As far as dedicated police, we want enforcement of this district. We expect enforcement of this district. It would be great to see a police officer walking around. We want safety first. But we have got to remain competitive. Our neighboring cities are doing more They're more competitive than ever, which means we have to be more competitive than ever. And entertainment districts are becoming synonymous with the tourist town. Part of the problem with the temporary entertainment districts, that's great. We're grateful to have them. But it causes confusion. It causes confusion with our businesses. It causes confusion with our guests. It causes confusion with our police. When we've got people calling the chamber on St. Patrick's Day asking if there's a entertainment district and how it looks, that's a problem. The temporary entertainment districts are leaving it open to where people aren't sure what's going on regularly. And so having this structure is great regulation because it keeps the confusion out and keeps things in place. We've talked to many retailers. Most of the retailers we talk to are in favor of this plan. And for the businesses that are left out, we really apologize. It wasn't decided because we want to leave a particular business out or not. It was decided based off of safety, and this is the route the police chief was most comfortable with. Of course, he'll do whatever council says. So if it's the expanded district, that would be on you guys. But this was the district he was most comfortable with, so it's the district that we're most comfortable with.
Carrie Fegley. Very sorry if I mispronounced that.
Very close. My name is Carrie Fegley, and I own Granny's Place on 75 Spring Street. While I wholeheartedly support the growth of Eureka Springs, our downtown has a historic and cultural identity worth protecting, and that is why I am against making Eureka Springs a permanent entertainment district. Our historic downtown, with its unique atmosphere, draws people here for its whimsy, beauty, charm, creativity, healing traditions, independent spirit, and artistic culture. Public policy should protect that identity, not attempt to make it into a destination organized around alcohol consumption. A permanent entertainment district sends the message that this city wants to define downtown primarily through alcohol consumption rather than through the fuller cultural experience that makes Eureka special. Many people come here specifically because it feels different. They come here for the galleries, the shops, the music, the beauty, the history, the healing spaces, and a slower, more relaxed, meaningful experience. A permanent entertainment district identity may attract one kind of visitor while pushing away others who are equally important to the local economy. When a place like Eureka Springs has such cultural and historic significance, the people of the community collectively share responsibility to think beyond short-term activity and ask what kind of long-term identity they're shaping. Not every revenue stream idea is the right fit for a historic arts-centered downtown. Music, visual art, healing arts, independent retail, and local culture are a part of what makes Eureka Springs vibrant. These things should be celebrated and cultivated in their own right, not treated as a background to a permanent open container atmosphere. What benefits bars or alcohol-serving businesses does not automatically benefit the rest of us. Many shops depend on families and visitors seeking the kind of peaceful, creative, healing, historic atmosphere that makes Eureka special. A permanent entertainment district will alter the character of downtown in ways that do not serve the full business community or the long-term identity of this town. Thank you very much for your time.
Lex Lancaster.
Is Granny, not Granny's story. I think she.
Hi there, I'm Lex Lancaster. I first want to just note that the time of today's workshop is challenging. I have some friends who would like to be here, and they can't because they're working. I was here on Monday, so I won't repeat myself in terms of what I said in public comments, but I do want to reiterate that towns with permanent entertainment districts have infrastructure and funding to support this. And not only support this, but without harming local residents or tourism. The main thing I've heard is that those of us who are opposed to this proposal hate tourists. That's not true. I started as a tourist, and I work in tourism. I want tourists, but I don't believe this is the right way or effective way to increase tourism. Eureka claims to be inclusive, yet this puts one demographic and one behavior above everyone else. The proposal for this appears to come from a place of seeing other towns have it. We want it too. without depth of information, real case studies, or actual metrics to show outcomes in towns like ours. I do not believe this is a way to stay competitive. There are other priorities tourists have, like family-friendly events, accessibility, and updated public spaces. Additionally, this proposal neglects the nationwide downward shift of drinking culture. That's a serious market trend we should pay attention to. I struggle to see the reasons and positives of this proposal, and I genuinely want to know, what is the goal with the proposal? Who will this benefit? Will this actually increase revenue when there are now costs associated with like extra police, wristband and outside alcohol regulation, etc.? Does this actually benefit bars when it encourages people to drink and go rather than hang out, finish their drink, have a second drink, buy food, tip their bartender? I don't see what this does that a temporary entertainment district doesn't currently do, and I would love to better understand if I'm missing things. Finally, and most importantly, this is a big decision that deserves the input from the community. It is only right to respect residents and their right to a voice. Without them, a town is not anything, let alone a tourist destination. Thank you.
We are going to take a brief pause for a technical adjustment. Please bear with us. Okay, next up is Matt Farabend.
Hello, I'm Matt Farabend. I own Pure Joy Ice Cream on Spring Street, just across from Basin Spring Park. Yeah, just wanted to get up here and let you all know that I'm in support of this. I really think it's a great idea. I think it's anything we do as a community is something that we want to make sure benefits everybody in the community. We are clearly a tourist town. That's why I'm here. That's why my business is here. And I think it's something that would be good for the tourists. I think it's something that the tourists want. I think it's something that we do need to be thoughtful about. I think expanding the zone would be really nice, but I think a permanent district, as has already been said, that is defined and known as events come and go. We have so many events down there. I think just having a permanence to what that zone is would be really, really nice. Yeah, I spoke with several friends who own businesses in downtown Rogers and spoke with them about the positives and the negatives of their entertainment zone that they've had for a few years now. And overwhelmingly, the response was that it's been positive for their community. So I think it'd be a great idea here in Eureka. I hope y'all will take everybody's thoughts into consideration and support this. Thank you.
Probably going to mess this next one up too. Channing, something like that.
I got my timer so I don't go over. My name's Channing Turnage. I live across the street, which is apparently a part of this entertainment district proposal, and I work at Haunted Eureka Springs as a primary tour guide. I have to deal with belligerent drunks pretty much every single night on my tour. These sidewalks are absolutely not safe for sober people, let alone drunks, and I have to safely navigate up to 40 people per tour across the street. You are now dealing with drunks that risk getting hit by a car run by a drunk driver. I don't think this is safe. I have a 10-month-old daughter across the street, and I would like to take her on a stroller up to Basin Park without having a drunk puke on her and spill Coors Light on her stroller. It's not safe for children. You guys are going to alienate the Christian conservative movement that would like to come here, visit the Passion Play, and buy fudge with Grandma. I don't think that this is a good idea. I think this should be open for a public vote. Our infrastructure cannot currently handle this beyond the problems that people talk about, the parking. I often have to reroute my tourists every night to get to a bathroom, and the only open one that they can take their children to most of the time is at the Basin Park Hotel. Okay? I don't think that we have enough police presence to be able to park someone at the top of Center, the top of Spring Street, and at the intersection of Spring and Main. You're also talking about the trash. You're talking about cleaning up vomit off of the ground. I'm usually the only person that I see at night for about 3 months out of the year. Most businesses are shut down. This actually will affect me more than other folks in this town. I work 365 days a year if I need to. I really don't think our hospital can handle the amount of injuries that are going to happen by people tripping in front of cars. We've had problems with this hospital that we have yet to resolve. And quite honestly, I don't see how this is going to be good for business. We are a quaint little Victorian art town. It's a honeymoon destination. This is not New Orleans. I already have to police the roads and tell people to not snort cocaine and drink Coors Light on the streets in front of children that I take on my tour every single night. I would beg you guys, please, for the sake of my 10-month-old daughter who is apparently living on this district, please put this up to an open vote. It is going to affect babies, and I don't need her seeing belligerent drunks. Thank you.
I just want to confirm the sign up for Christine that has a line marked through it. She did not want to speak. I will take that as a yes. Next up is Mistel Tracy.
Hi, my name is Mistel Tracy. I've been a resident here for about 5 years. We love it because it's a safe little town. On a personal note, I've run into a woman from Fayetteville that comes to Bruise on a weekly basis because she's tired of what she sees going on in Dixon Street in her hometown of Fayetteville. Now, my mother and daughter and I went to see a show when we were walking up that, and there were drunks hanging out of the doorways, and we had to step over piles of vomit. And that shouldn't be an issue for this little quaint little town. And the bathrooms, the ones by Chelsea's are closed half the time because of vandalism. What are we going to do to make sure we've got the infrastructure? I mean, our water department is not up to par, to say it nicely. It's not up to par. You know, when they do repairs, my husband can tick off 7 different EPA violations. They don't do the work correctly. What are we going to do? There's always leaks on Main Street. These are just issues you need to take into consideration. Thank you.
Wanda, is there a Wanda?
My name is Wanda Nyberg. My husband and I have lived here for 13 years. Prior to that, we were visitors for over 30 years before we retired. All due respect to Jack, this needs to go before a vote of the citizens. It was passed one other time, and it had to be stopped while put on the ballot. We shouldn't put the citizens through that again. And Beale Street, really? Beale Street. This town already has a problem with alcohol. I don't know how many concerts I've been to at the Odd that have been ruined by drunks talking, laughing, being loud. And that's without a permanent district. They're walking the streets drunk. I was at one concert where the performer stopped because of the loud drunks and had to wait. I think we need to really consider the seriousness of this, but please don't pass it without letting it go to a vote for the citizens. You've got to keep in mind that there are people who live here, and we all have a stake in this. Thank you.
Sergio.
Hello, my name is Sergio Aguinaga. I'm the owner of Amigos Mexican restaurant here in downtown. I'm very blessed with this community. I'm already very busy. I appreciate all my locals and all the tourists that come to this town. I just felt a little bit different because apparently we're not on the district, which I'm neutral. I'm okay with if it passes or not, but I feel like it didn't take us in consideration. Me and a couple of business owners get together to approve or to get a permit for a temporary one for spring fling, mentioning the cat house. And then, so like the other, I don't remember the name of this person that came up here. It will make a little bit of confusion having temporary one that goes all the way up there for us, and then having the one permanent that stops at Benton Street. I feel like if it's gonna be passed, it will make more sense that we are gonna be part of it, and not just when it's gonna be temporary. Again, I'm neutral on it, but if it passes, it will be nice to have it all the way up there because we're gonna be part of it anyways. But if it doesn't, we're still okay. Thank you very much.
Justin.
Hello, my name's Justin with Haunted Grounds Coffee Shop downtown and Java Dudes. I don't sell alcohol, but I do live downtown, so I wanted to speak up about this. I'm not a good public speaker, but if there was some alcohol on the streets today, I would have drank a beer on the way here, and I probably would have been a little more fun. So I wrote some things down, but to go over this idea, new things are coming into this town all the time, new ideas, younger people are coming in. I don't want to get anybody mad or anything, but a lot of the older people that are coming up here, seems like they want to keep things the same. But as I came into this town, I see a lot of opportunity. One of it was the entertainment district. So let me get those real quick for you. Sorry, I wrote a lot down. By the way, I am in support of the entertainment district. From a business standpoint, it gives people reasons to stay longer, explore more. I know when I'm drinking, I love to shop, so that will help all those shoppers around town. That they're saying that it won't help because I know I'm a shopper and a drinker, so I love to spend my money when I'm a little tipsy. So that'll just put more extra money in our pocket. From a resident's perspective, this town is dead at night, and it'd be fun to see things vibrant out. I live straight downtown, close to the Grand Central, and don't get me wrong, I love the town when it's dead. I get to walk the town myself, I get to call it my own. But it'd be neat to see some atmosphere, some entertainment at night, and I think that's what this town is missing. A lot of these stores are already going to be closed by the time the belligerent drunks come out, which they already do anyways. I live downtown and I see it all day long. Belligerent drunks. That's going to happen in any state. the good thing about this is that we are going to be watching it, maybe have more cops downtown. Maybe this will bring more money for that, for those issues that they're worried about. And it'll bring more money maybe to fix those bathrooms that are closed every once in a while. So I think it would be a good thing for it. Also, I would think it would be good for the expanding it, as it would just confuse people. They come to the entertainment district and then they come walking down to the bodega or whatever and try to buy alcohol and start drinking. So I think there'd just be a mixed confusion on that. So I think it should be the whole town of the city, downtown anyways.
The gentleman's 3 minutes has expired. Marcia Yearsley. Marcia, feel free to pull that microphone down as much as you need.
Are you implying that I'm not giant? Okay, is that good? I'm Marcia Yearsley, and I don't have a prepared statement, so this will be extemporaneously spoken because I have such a passionate opinion. Fortunately for me, almost every concern in my heart has been addressed here in the last 40 minutes. Public safety, the condition of our sidewalks, the public's tendency to walk in the streets, and all of that equating with the idea of open carry alcohol, to me is really scary. My credibility probably is based on the fact that I've been operating nightly tourist lodging on Spring Street within 3,000 feet from here since 1983. And we cater to a lot of couples who want to stay there because they don't have to drive. They can walk and eat and drink and be able to walk home without any driving hazards. But then also we cater very heavily to families. They're the ones I love the most. They come here specifically to explore the community on foot, go downtown, walk around in the evenings, go to the park, listen to the music. They a lot of times are coming now to have nature experiences where they actually get out and go to Black Bass and things like that as a family. And this idea of making a permanent open carry alcohol area downtown, it seems to me like this will definitely offend the family units that we're trying to attract. And by the way, the money that they pay, I have 3-night minimums, and the most of them stay 3 to 4 to 5 nights, is considerable. It's not just couples coming to eat in restaurants and going to bars. These people are really investing in Eureka, and they almost always go home. I found all kinds of containers for high-end clothing and sportswear and things that they have purchased while they're here. The other thing is, well, everything is, my mind is a little blank, I'm getting emotional, but almost every concern from citizens, concerned citizens, maybe business owners, there's a lot of business owners who've spoken, but a lot of people who live here and are trying to protect the quality of life. I cannot see how this particular proposal and possible ordinance could benefit anybody overall in a way that would enhance the things that so many of us love about Eureka. So I'm asking you all to seriously consider and decide to put it to a public vote where we can really express how we feel and the reasons we feel our opinions and concerns are valid. Thank you very much.
Are there any additional personnel who would like to make a public comment at this time who did not sign up on the sign-up sheet? Mr. Berry, I turn it back over to you. Thank you.
All right. I want to thank everybody for coming up and voicing your opinions. I know the council appreciates it, and I appreciate it. At this point in time, we'll open it up to the city council comments and questions. So whoever wants to lead off first. Mr. Meyer?
Well, we've heard a lot of fors and against, and I don't think there's any doubt where I stand on this. I think it should be go to the public, since the public turned it down last time, and that's how we got here, is the public voted on us. So I would think we should give them the right to decide on this issue, this time without making them go out and circulate a petition. I mean, it could work really bad for those who want entertainment districts if a petition was circulated to remove the entire ordinance off. No more temporary districts, no more permanent districts, if that gets on the ballot and passes. So don't ask for too much is what I've got to say. And I think the chamber has really stuck their neck out by drafting ordinances for the city. That's unheard of. That's disgusting. I don't like that at all.
All right. Ms. Moyer?
I had some things I wanted to talk about, but I want to address something that you said, Harry. And I think if I understand correctly, the passage of the proposed district like this will not eliminate temporary entertainment districts. Is that correct?
Correct. Mr. Holyfield?
I agree. We've heard positives and negatives on this issue. It's obviously stirred a lot of our citizens up. They strongly feel one way or the other. As a city council member, we need to listen to everybody, not just part of the people. Our business owners, a lot of them are citizens too. They have a right to own a business in town and make business work. But we also have citizens here that make this their town. And I'm one of those people who came here because I wanted to live here. And so those people need a voice as well. So my question is, can we put it on the ballot? Can we just decide to put it on the ballot in November? Or do we have to, or is that only if the city council passes it and then petition?
City council can, by ordinance, put it on a ballot.
Still kind of in the same position of talking about specifics with regard to the ordinance here. And here's one of the things that I wanted to just talk about kind of how I view this. Having a policy background, I really see this issue as this sort of economic benefit versus possible negative impacts, right? And so I've really been thinking a lot about what are the negative impacts that would outweigh any economic benefit. And I've done a lot of research over the last couple of weeks to try to understand. I mean, I'm an academic, so my brain's going to go that direction, but I want to see evidence to understand what kind of an impact policies like this have on cities. Our size, larger, whatever. What I would say in the research that I've done is that there is a definite positive correlation, and this is studies as recent as 2024, published by the NIH and Science Direct, that show that policies like this lead to increased underage drinking. As a city council member, I can't responsibly support an ordinance without knowing for absolute positive that we are doing what we are most responsible for, which is protecting public safety. So that brings me to ask lots of questions of our police chief, being in the police, the chief in charge of public safety. So I wondered if you would talk to us a little bit about how your department addresses underage drinking, and if a proposed ordinance like this was to go into place, how would that change how your office addresses underage drinking?
For the permanent entertainment district specifically, or any entertainment district, the wristbands are given out by the servers who have an alcohol license. And so at a glance, we could see a wristband or the type of cup they were drinking out of. But if they appeared to be underage, they still have to have identification on them. So if they would appear to be underage, we would still card them if we saw them out with alcohol.
Okay. And so if identification is a big part of that, so how can your department help us as a community feel secure that your department's going to be able to identify those things, right? Because you have to have people on the street who can actually see and identify that.
Right, and that's a variable we would just have to address as as it came. I mean, even now, as it is, if we see someone with alcohol, or if we saw someone that appeared to be intoxicated and appeared to be underage, we would still treat them the same way we would anyone else as far as their age goes, you know. So, I mean, the possibility of underage drinking, I agree. If it's just, you know, if you're able to drink outside of a bar, I would think that that is a potential problem. That if it's just, you know, open alcohol, that a younger person would be able to just drink openly, thinking that, you know, but you don't even let those types in a bar, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're in a bar and you see someone drinking alcohol, they had to get ID to get in there. If you see them drinking outside the bar, it's hard to tell without just walking up to them and getting their identification. So, I mean, I agree, it's a potential problem. So and I can't give you any assurances other than if we see it, we'll have to check them out individually.
Okay, but in terms of staffing, you feel you're adequately staffed to be able to handle that responsibility?
The staffing would really depend on, I mean, as it is right now, in the heavier seasons and everything like that, we still have that potential. Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing that it would add would be the personal one-on-one contact that you're talking about. If we see it could potentially add to the possibility of having to card people on the street.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know that we had talked after the last workshop. Again, I'm sort of a data-driven person, so I'm curious, you know, how are we going to know if something like this was to pass, whether it was an ordinance put in place by this body or whether it went to vote and passed? We would still want to be able to track and monitor and understand how this kind of a policy impacts our community. And I felt comfortable that there were metrics. We kind of landed on a few things. There were some metrics that we could watch and monitor so that we would know, you know, after a month if there were increased incidences. Maybe we decide that we do something different, or it could inform just future decisions. It's not like we would just do something like this and let it fly and not worry about the impacts that it's having on our community. You still feel that way? Yes, we have a CAD system on our dispatch that we log each different type of call. And one call may hit several of those parameters. A traffic stop could also be a DWI arrest, could also be alcohol-related offense, or, you know, any number of things that, as you guys get my stats every month, excuse me, you can look at each one of them. Well, if we wanted to put another parameter in there for permanent entertainment district or even temporary entertainment district, if we were to put offenses that occurred within those, if there was an uptick in alcohol-related offenses, say there were 14 more this month alcohol-related offenses, you could look over at the temporary entertainment district related offenses and say there were 14 more temporary entertainment, or there were 14 offenses within the temporary entertainment district that would reflect the increase in the problems, and so we could monitor it. Mm-hmm. If that and
was
the
your
same we could do also with, let's say, incidents with someone crossing the road and getting hit, or DUIs or things like that, right? Sure. So just trying to kind of plug in the metrics that we talked about to some of the concerns that the community had regarding crossing the street, that kind of thing. Those things would become visible in the metrics, and we could actually measure that,
yes,
whether it was increasing or decreasing.
Correct.
Mr. Meyer?
Something that the public may not know is when back, what was it, 17, 16, when did we pass the entertainment district enabling
2000?
Ordinance? Do you remember, Butch?
It's right before COVID.
No, I don't.
It was, I think it was 18. I think it was 2018. But because I remember Mr. DeVito had lost his bid? to be on-
2019,
19?
September 2019.
Okay. I know Mr. DeVito had lost his bid to stay on the council, but when the state passed that law, Mr. DeVito came to the council and said, we got to do this. We got to do this right now, or other places are going to go right ahead of us. We're going to get left behind, and we're going to get ruined. Well, you know, so an entertainment district was passed, but petition stopped it from continuing in effect, and we've had some very good times since that date. We don't have such good times right now, but it is totally unrelated to what we're providing to the public here in town. It has to do with the political situation, the tariffs, the increase of the cost of living, the fact that people don't have the kind of money they used to have to spend. That's really obvious. I know people are desperate to get more business here because they're hurting. I'm sure people are hurting. But I don't believe this is the answer. I think it's taking a big chance. And if they use those silicone armbands, I can go into the bar, get a silicone armband, come out, sell it to a kid for $20, and he can go into the bar and get his own drink, or the next bar. And I can go and get another armband at the next bar. So at least if we're going to do armbands, get the kind that are at the hospital, the Kevlar ones that you got to cut off with a pair of scissors.
Let's do tattoos.
On the forehead. Yeah, tattoo on the forehead. That'd be a good one. I'm a drunk. That's all I got.
Ms. Moyer.
So just to talk about what Harry said, actually, in looking at some of the other model cities that I've looked at, the research that I've done, that is a concern that wristbands are transferable, especially when it comes to underage drinking, because many of us know teenagers who are pretty wily about figuring out ways to do stuff. Rogers, Arkansas's ordinance actually addresses that, and they require wristbands that fit tight on the wrist and are non-transferable. And they actually go a step above and require that the business that's checking the ID have their identification on the band. So if, in the case of what Billy Floyd is talking about, where they see someone on the street and they have a band, that band actually records where the ID was checked the first time. And then they can go back to that business and do an investigation if required. So the Rogers ordinance, I think, was a great model based on the research that I did, and they addressed that specifically.
All right. Anybody else? Mr. McClung?
Yeah, there were some good points made by businesses outside the district as it's proposed. The other evening, this past Monday, we approved a temporary for South Main Street, and those businesses are not inclusive or included in the template that we have for the entertainment district as presented. As Devin said, it's our ability to set the boundaries ourselves, and the same with Eureka Live. It's across the street, and he made a great point in that, there's your parking lots over there, and people are walking across the street with their alcohol now, if they've got it, both ways. So let's not kid ourselves. I think if there is going to be an ordinance presented, I think they need to be included. I know that the chief has had a little problem with that because of crossing a highway, but I don't think we have the right to not to try and include it. I just don't think we can. I think they need their fair shake at it. If they want to be involved, they should be. It's such a small area, really, as far as physical landmass goes compared to other places. It's not very big. So including them is not a difficulty, in my opinion. I also feel that I've had more contact from citizens regarding this issue than I have anything in the past, both sides. And I've had people that are in favor of the entertainment district still wish to have it put to a vote of the citizenry because they just feel that's the fair shake that it needs to have. So, that's kind of the way I'm leaning, and I understand what Jack Moyer was saying about, we have to look at and weigh it all out, business-wise, the revenue that generates for the city, everything, it's personalities that we have to try and eliminate personalities and look at all the just the facts and weigh it all out as a council. And the citizens have just as much right as the business. I mean, it's a crapshoot, and we may lose some revenue, but we may gain it in quality of life. I can't say. We think about the town and how the revenue stream may be down. Well, when COVID hit, we thought that we were going to go under. We did everything we could to cut budgets and things stepped into place, and lo and behold, we came out smelling like a rose. Big money. And biggest years we had coming out of that COVID. And now, it's going back the other way. It cycles. That's just the nature of the business. We have to try and stay on top of our game. The competition regionally and nationally has, in the tourism industry, has grown exponentially. Everybody's wanting to get in the game because it's, for the most part, good, clean money. It's, it generates good, clean revenue. It's not polluting type of industry as, in a major way. I'd like to see it happen, but it has to be done the right way. And so whether it would pass or not, I can't say, but I feel it has to go back out to citizens.
Ms. Kearney?
So I agree with what everyone has brought to the table from the council, and Rochelle, you brought up some good points with the underage drinking. I think, though, that Eureka, as far as the police force, we have a pretty clean record with the temporary entertainment districts, and we still have the ABC laws to protect and hopefully dissuade underage drinking. The one thing I think we can say is, if we see that, is there a 2-year sunset clause to this? Do we have a sunset clause, Devin? Can Devin answer that?
Well, no, it's up to the council whether we're going to put a sunset clause on it.
Don't give it to them.
We don't need a sunset clause.
No.
We do not?
We have the ability to pull the plug anytime we choose.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say. And even in that proposed ordinance, it says city council can pull the plug at any time. And so it's not, I think permanent is kind of a tough word. It's not necessarily a permanent entertainment district. It's an ongoing entertainment district that can be pulled at any time.
Okay.
By the city council.
Good point. Okay. So, and the economic case of, I think, implementing this, you brought up Rogers, we have Fayetteville, we have Bentonville. They've all invested. They have seen consistent growth. In Hot Springs, they invested money, and they saw 13 commercial property sales in 1 year. I don't know what that will bring to creating a vibrant storefront, but I will say that I see a lot of empty storefronts right now. And when we talked about, I had heard about the water and sewer infrastructure. We have to make money to spend money, and we're looking at other avenues of what we can do for our city. And if this is an avenue that is a trend, it's, I don't want to compare us to Europe, but Europe does it already. And we have our outlying neighbors doing it, and yet, I'm not saying it'll bring some more people in, but it's not going to hurt in sales for everybody. So we do have the water and sewer issues that the taxes will help with. The taxes will help with parks for the schools. It's not just unique to downtown. I just feel like if this is opposed, that we're not preserving the status quo of what we have today, but we're choosing a future with fewer businesses, less tax revenue, more empty buildings, which then us, our 2,000 some citizens, have to take and make up the difference for. So I think knowing that we can pull the plug at any time for these concerns, I would help alleviate some of that for you.
Mr. Meyer?
Northwest Arkansas is completely different than Eureka Springs. Over 80 people a day are moving into North Arkansas. They have new people coming there all the time. There's no failure rate because they always have new blood coming in. We're completely different. This place has relied on the tourist that wants to come to our quaint little town and see the nature and see whatever. And of course, we've got enough bars. People can have all of the alcohol they want. And besides, you know, when I hear people say we already have people walking down the street with alcohol, that's an enforcement problem. It's a terrible enforcement problem. And if we have teenagers drinking downtown, which I have no doubt we do, because they'll just fill up in their car and walk around with a Yeti or something like that and drink. We've got an enforcement problem now. If you can prove to me that we won't have an enforcement problem when we have people allowed to walk around drinking, I don't know. I don't see any patrols on the street when we have an entertainment district, so I don't know how we're going to, yeah, we got all these laws, but there's got to be enforcement.
Mr. McClung?
I don't believe that as far as the number of people as an increase of drinking alcoholic beverages on the streets is going to increase that much. I don't think it's going to have near the dynamic effect everyone is afraid of or suggesting one way or the other. I don't think we're going to turn into Deadwood, South Dakota during the silver and gold rush. I don't think that's going to happen. In trying to compare us with Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville, you can only do that in a very, very limited fashion. You see any cranes around here? I don't. We don't have what's going on over there. We are not what they are. So we don't want to try and be that. But the entertainment district itself is not, it's not like I'm trying to be like my big brother. It's not. I mean, there can be some benefit to it. I see it. But I don't think it's going to have the numerically numbers, the growth or the problems that anybody has projected in their minds. But, it's whatever the town wants is what I want.
Ms. Moyer?
So I following up on what Susan's saying, I think that relevance to the tourism industry is an important component here that's been brought forth by the Chamber and businesses, including all the retail and businesses in the downtown, which would be in the proposed district, who apparently support it. And I think, we have to just assume that they know what's going to be best for their business, right? And that they're going to support or not. But it appears as though the current consensus is that there is quite a bit of support for it. I think that speaks to relevance in tourism. And what I would say is we are a tourism destination and we do depend on those dollars to be a community, but we are also a community. And the concerns that I hear from the folks who've talked today, I think really is they're expressing concern about the community image that we're putting forth and the things that could happen to our families and community here. And so when you have these two things sort of contrasting with each other, I think what that means as a policy-making group like us, that we move forward very cautiously and incrementally, right? So I think that, if this is what we're going to decide to do as a community, whether it's in whatever way it's going to be implemented, whether it's put to vote or whatever, I think we have to make sure that the policy is solid, that we have all the pieces in place that we need to protect our youth, to protect our community in the case that it is adopted. And so I want to turn the conversation to more specifics that I hope, something that came up in the conversation today. But before I do that, it's about bathrooms. I want to understand the impact of bathrooms. But before I do that, I want to say that moving forward in an incremental way could solve other concerns. So Terry, you brought up, and the owner from Amigos, thank you for being here, talking about those businesses kind of being excluded when we're trying to be conservative and safe, right? And how you now, again, have this mismatch and contrast here. I think that it's easy to kind of think of these things as an either or. We have this or we have this. We have this or we don't have this. But if we adopt a conservative approach, let's just use this as an example, where we go with a more constricting boundary, that doesn't mean we can't look at the metrics, watch how that goes, and in the future expand that boundary to be more inclusive if that is what the city wants to do. There's a lot of ways that we can move and grow through this kind of a process as a group, as opposed to just kind of thinking about it as this is right or this is wrong. There's a lot of space to come together here. So I just wanted to say that out loud. But I really want to understand what the impact is on the bathrooms, because I've done a ton of research and have all these points that I wanted to understand, and bathrooms did not come up on any of it. So can somebody...
Bathrooms are a separate issue, please. We've got, that's an issue.
It is an
It doesn't have
impact.
anything to do really with this ordinance. That has to do with Public Works and with administration, and with us trying to keep the bathrooms open and free of graffiti and keeping people from tearing the bathrooms up, ripping toilets out, and having damage to where we have to shut it down, so we have to have plumbers come in almost once a week to repair the toilets and bathrooms. So that's an ongoing administration issue. It doesn't have anything to do with it may have to do with drunks and alcohol. I don't know. But
I was actually just going to start with
there's
what
no-
are the hours, the bathroom operation, and what are the issues that we have?
Again, that's a separate issue, but during the winter, we have the winter hours, so when it gets dark, the bathrooms are shut down. Now, when it's winter, when we get into the spring break, the hours are open back up to the daylight hours again. And in the summertime, I think we go 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock in the summertime.
10 o'clock to the summertime.
So bathrooms are open until 10 during season.
During season, yes. Yes, and also y'all won't allow people to use your bathrooms, so they go to the public bathrooms, and you don't, and the reason, and I understand this, that's why we have public bathrooms. And right now, we're having people tearing off toilet paper hangers and rolls and throw them into the toilets. So we have a lot of issues, but that's totally separate and it's administrative. It's got nothing to do with the entertainment district. Mr. McClung.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, it's, we've been at this
Almost an
for
hour and a
about
half.
hour and a half, and we're getting a little bit distracted, and I think maybe it's a good time to pull the plug and regroup another day.
Yeah. Ms. Moyer, you want to talk about the restrooms? I'll be glad to talk to you later on about that.
Yeah, I was just.
But it really doesn't have
looking
anything
for
to
more
do with the entertainment district. All right. Any council have any other comments before we close?
Just one. When we were passing the last permanent entertainment district, the previous police chief said that he was going to have to hire 2 more officers. So I just want to make that clear. It is going to require probably more law enforcement.
All right. Ms. Moyer?
I just had a final comment, and that is that in this position, all of us at the table have a responsibility to respond to citizens, and none of this is actually city-driven initiative. This is us responding to citizens. So we're just trying to get our hands around where everybody is and how it stands, and I want to say how much I appreciate everybody coming out and sharing their perspective. It's important, and I know it takes a lot of time, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it very much.
Are we adjourned?
We are adjourned.